here. With that, I'd like to introduce our speaker and sponsor today, Colby with Piezanos. I first became aware of Piezanos years ago when I was in the American Marketing Association. A lot of you know Rich Lawson. He's a friend of mine. He's oftentimes coming to these coffees. And I asked Rich one day, we were talking about pizza, where's the best pizza place in town? And he very quickly said Piezanos. It's his favorite. Man, it's good enough for Rich. It's got to be good enough. And it truly is. It's a real Lincoln jam. And if you haven't had a chance to visit them, please do. And with that, I'll turn it over to Colby, and he can tell you how he got into the pizza business.
Like I said, my name is Colby. Can everybody hear me all right, by the way? Is this good? Oh, I do. This is good? All right, so like I said, my name is Colby. First off, just want to take a quick, so who here has ever eaten at Piezanos? Okay, so most of you, okay. What I found, like in the first 6 months I had, we're coming up on 6 months, wow, that's pretty crazy. 6 months of ownership, but what I found with Piezanos is you're really two ends of the spectrum. There's people who have been really coming there for generations, and there's people who've been lifelong Lincolnites and they've never heard of it. And so that's one, if you didn't raise your hand, I'd encourage you to go try it, because then you're going to be going there for generations. So we do have the best pizza in Lincoln, and there's my sales pitch right there. So we just, one thing that, and I'm a lifelong Lincolnite as well, so I guess I'll go a little bit more of the background of me first. Lifelong Lincolnite, went to Pius, went to UNL, studied marketing with a minor in management. Then I started working here in Lincoln. My dad actually has a company called Caring for People Services, so we do in-home non-medical care, and I did the day-to-day operations of that for about a year and a half, right out of college, just trying to really assist the elderly with the services they need. Ended up deciding that we need to go in a different direction with the day-to-day operations, just for someone with a little more gray hairs on their face. I don't have very many of those right now. But so I still stayed in, so I got a little used to the entrepreneurship, running day-to-day operations pretty early, and made a lot of mistakes, a lot of learning things there, which that's the best way to grow. But it was best for me also to go into the real world, the 40-hour week, enter daily life. So I worked at a company called Yasufuku, where I did customer support for them, where they do rubber and plastic manufacturing. And I did customer support for them, so working with companies all over the country and helping make sure they got the product. And then I moved to where I'm currently at, which is Pfizer, doing IT support. So I've really got a good, I felt like I'm moving around, trying different things, really finding where my niches are in terms of what I'm able to do and what my talents are in order to do the best work for myself here. But one thing I've always had is the entrepreneurial desire. So I've always wanted to be an owner of something, and that kind of is something that I've always thought about, always tried to do. I mean, I have a group of friends, we have dinner every week, and oftentimes at the dinner we're just discussing different ideas that we have, different potential businesses, things we can build, program, apps or whatever, just kind of always keeping our eyes open. And it was really during this time that we started doing this that I started looking around more for opportunities, because this is probably about 2 or 3 years ago. And even though I was really in no position to actually be able to do much with, based on where my bank account was, based on what my experience was, but always just kind of keep my eyes open. So I started looking at a company called The Firm out of Omaha. They're a business brokerage site, and so we were always looking just what offerings they had. And, ended up going to Omaha to see a couple bars, a volleyball restaurant, and then some other ones here in Lincoln. And really just, never really felt like I found something I wanted to even pursue, anything that was worth it. And after actually checking one of the ones in Lincoln, they said, hey, here's another one, and it turned out to be Piezanos. I was like, all right, well, this is one that I know I've heard of. This is one I know they have a high quality product. They got a good loyal following. They've been in Lincoln since 1982, so they've been an established business, which is after learning about the difficulties of running a startup, day one operation, just trying to gain customers, everything like that. The idea of having something with an already established customer base was very appealing. And so after doing that, I have started working to see, like, all right, well, I know I can't do this alone. This is something that I'm going to be able to do by myself. So I was looking around for people who would be able to assist, and I actually one of them ended up being my roommate, who also was a fraternity brother, so I've known him since college. Who went to the university and has an accounting background. So he ended up, so we have that same business mind. He was looking for an opportunity to invest in, to have something where he could also, have that entrepreneurial experience as well. And we're like, all right, so we were actually the ones who went to all the places for the firm, and we ended up saying, like, Piezanos, we could see this working, but we also knew that we didn't have any restaurant experience. You know, we didn't have any ability to manage it, to run it. So what we ended up finding was another person in our fraternity who has been worked at Dino's for 8 years, 5 as a server, 3 as a general manager. He also who loves pizza. So one summer, actually, the summer before we bought it, he ended up hosting a weekly event where they watch a movie, and they had a different pizza from Lincoln every week. And I think he was supposed to try every pizza in Lincoln. And so he did. He made, I think it was 25 different weeks. It was a different pizza, from all over the place. So that was really cool. And so like he loves loved pizza, loved Piezanos. He definitely said it was one of the top ones. And so we definitely had a thought to him, knowing like if we're going to go with pizza, we need somebody who can run the day-to-day operations. And he had the skills, and he also had the desire. And it was kind of one of those things where everything just started, feel like it was falling in place, because I've actually met him at the restaurant, to propose this idea to him. I didn't let him know what we were going there for, but just to kind of talk. And he mentioned how the week prior he was talking with somebody about his future ambitions, and they were to either own his own restaurant or own a place like Piezanos. Literally mentioning Piezanos in 5 days. So you're like, oh, okay, this is just serendipitous. Like this is great. So we ended up thinking, we tried to go with the 3 of us, and we're like, all right, is this something we actually want to pursue? Like, do we have the ability to do this? Do we have, like, what are we missing? And so we, after a lot of really discussion, we said, all right, let's go for it. Let's try to see where we can go for this. And so that's where we really became, started going. And we thought the hard part of our journey was the soul searching, decide whether or not we wanted to pursue this. Then it's actually the decision to make the purchase. So one thing we definitely learned about was there's a lot of red tape, a lot of forms you need to sign, a lot of background checks, fingerprints, especially for the alcohol license. Meeting before the liquor commission. There's a lot of forms you need to sign, for licenses, for the county has food permits, the city has food permits. There's so many levels that really was just very eye-opening. Just as we also didn't really have much of a plan. We kind of were flying by the seat of our pants at some level. The firm actually, since they're helping facilitate the sale, they were able to provide some documentation, some outlines, but a lot of it was just let's just go. And we were just trying to complete the next step as it came. So that was something that we definitely could have done, could have improved on, be a little more, prepared. That we were definitely looking back now, especially, I can see, we were flying on that emotional high of like, this is something we want to do, and we got excited, and we let that kind of take, a little bit of, it both encouraged us, but also like we weren't as careful as we could have been, and that was kind of something we noticed when we made the initial offer to purchase the business. Is we didn't really know how to about. We actually had another fraternity brother, a big fraternity. We had another fraternity who worked for Invest Nebraska, so we asked him for his ideas on what we should offer as a number, and he gave us a number. We offered it, and they got rejected. And that was probably the first time we were like, crap, like we done all this work already, and this thing's gonna fall apart. So we came up with a number we felt comfortable with, knowing what the loan would be, knowing how much we'd have to pay, and we made it when we were accepted. So we're like, all right. And that number, looking back, probably would have been a little higher than we would feel comfortable. And knowing all things we know now in terms of what the state of everything was, the condition of everything, and then just what the income is, we probably would have tried, maybe waited them out, see if we can get them for a little lower. But it's one thing, you always look in hindsight, one thing you can learn. But then, so then we continued to go on our next thing. So then, after getting out all the paperwork, all the forms, meeting the lawyers, meeting the accountants, the next big thing was for us to get a loan. And so we're like, all right, here's some money we feel comfortable putting down payment. This is what we need for the loan. And then we go to the back to the loan or back to the bank, and the bank says this is the max number we can do, and it's not going to be enough to cover the cost of the business. And so we're like, crap. The second time we're like, we're just not going to be able to. This is just falling apart. We've done all this work for it, and it's going to fall apart again. And so we decided, like, if we really decide we're going to do this, we're going to go full at it. So we ended up putting basically almost everything we had into it, to taking the loans out from our family, finding another bank that was willing to offer a little bit more, enough to cover it. So we said, all right, this is what we're gonna do. We're gonna eat ramen for the next 3 years, and we're gonna go make this. And so then we met with more lawyers and had to go back negotiating with the terms of the lease, the terms of the purchase agreement. And then we found out that the owners they switched something with what we were told originally with the lease, and then they switched it at the last second, trying to charge us more. And so then we tried to resubmit it with the lower lease and then the lower price, which then they tried to blow off the sale. So that was the third time we thought we were going to lose this thing. So ultimately, luckily our general manager had a very good working relationship with the owner. They both had that food background they were experienced, and so he was able to smooth things over. We ended up able to finally agree on everything with the lawyer, then get everything taken care of, signed officially May 12th, and then which then led us into the biggest 6 months of our lives so far in terms of running the day-to-day operation. So some things we were looking for with the business though was knowing the difficulty of day-to-day operation, or starting a startup is you like having a low base. And that was definitely a big plus within Piezanos. The book looked solid. The owner was taking home a decent amount for the pay, and we knew that with only one of us was going to be working there on fire. The two of us, Ryan and I, that are back office, we were still working our day jobs at Fiserv. So we knew we didn't have to sustain very much. Initially, we can go put a lot towards the loan, pay that off early. With us just kind of working out for Fiserv there. So we liked that the financials were good. We liked the loyal customer base. Another thing we noticed is that the old owner, he was very much he just wanted it to be kind of his nest egg, or he just wanted to go work there, and he didn't really do much to grow it. He just was happy that it was still going. And so that was one thing we saw was a great opportunity, was the lack of marketing. And so me, especially with my marketing background, I was kind of very excited. Like, all right, but this is what they're doing without any marketing. Holy cow, the sky's the limit. So that was another thing we were looking for, is like the ability to grow it. And right now, if you guys have ever been there, it's a small building with the world's worst parking lot, and and they still get a ton of people coming in there. So I mean, there's opportunities for new people coming in. There's opportunities for hitting other parts of Lincoln. There's a lot of opportunity for this product to grow. And so that was one thing we saw as a great opportunity for us as well. So and then lastly was the reasons the old owner was leaving. So it wasn't, the old owner wasn't losing money trying to save everything. He actually met his wife while working at Piezanos. She was an employee for about 2 years, and they got married, and then they started wanted to have kids. To which it's hard to do that when you're both working 3 to 11 every night. Hard to raise kids. So they were going to go move out to Western Nebraska, where her family's from. So we saw the reason reason it was for sale wasn't it was. We understood that reason. It wasn't because the business was losing anything. It still had very solid sales with consistent growth. There's opportunities for growth. Had great loyalty from its customers. I mean, there's actually funny, on the day we signed the papers, the old owner's lawyer actually was part of a club that eats there every Friday for lunch. Like, there's just such great loyalty from the people, which is incredible. And that's one thing we wanted to maintain as well. And then it was just the solid financials. So we really saw like there was a lot of opportunities coming together, and so that was really what really encouraged us to go after this one. And so then the biggest thing, so then taking over, the first thing people always ask you is, what are you going to change? And so I always joke, we're going to stop selling pizza, we're going to start selling burgers and fries, right? Like, that's why you buy a pizza, right? It's just to sell burgers and fries. The one thing that's been very important to us is maintaining that quality. I mean, the person who was making the dough, for the old owners is still the guy making the dough for us. So we wanted to keep that, keep the employees on, keep, everyone who had the knowledge of the sauce recipes, the dough, make sure we kept that high quality, make sure nothing changed. Because that's going to be what people are coming back to, is they want to know it's going to be that high quality piece that they've always heard from me, even through the new ownership. So we wanted to make sure that. But we also had the balance of, we also had these new ideas. We had new items we wanted to try. We had things that we wanted to bring on there that would both help grow the business, new thing, and that still fit into our category. And so that's been an interesting challenge, I guess, of deciding what is something we want to try. It's not like, how do we determine if it's successful? We've had some things like, we're just going to be debuting some cinnamon sticks basically just cinnamon breadsticks. So they're very tasty. We've started debuting them on our lunch, seeing how they're going over there, and then we're going to start debuting them on our menu here shortly. We had another pizza for a buffalo chicken pizza that really didn't have that kind of support. So like we've had that challenge of trying to see what will work and what won't work within the business. There's been a lot of things we've learned from there. But yeah, it's been like just the normal business there. The restaurant changed things.
Got a question.
Yes, sir.
I've been in a business in the past that involved partners, and whenever you have partners, there's usually friction because of the division of labor, who does what, and what is one getting paid for their contributions versus the others. How did you guys tackle that issue right off the bat with 3 investors, some of them on site working full time, some of them not?
Well, so what we ended up doing, which is it was a great benefit that we're all brothers, we're all friends, which also is turning into a bit of a challenge as well in terms of as the day-to-day operations continue to go. But we really we all knew we had the interest of the business in each other at heart. We have that trust where we know we're not going to try to screw the other guy over. So we wanted to give the opportunity fair. There weren't equal amounts of investment by everybody, so that makes it also a little different in terms of what they're going to be the payback and how much people are going to be reimbursed. So, but we knew, Matt, who's our general manager, is actually taking a salary because we know, he's quitting his job and he needs, he needs to be able to live. But it's lesser than he would make at, say, another restaurant chain where he'd be a general manager. And so we're kind of using that as, an investment. His lower salary is being used to both help pay off the loans and as a form of investment. And then, really it's just been trying to make sure everyone is pulling their way. I mean, like we've all had, our bi-weekly meetings, weekly meetings now, to really make sure everyone's staying up on their things using towards the out. And it's always intriguing too when you have 3 people just with 3 different mindsets, 3 different organizational levels. Like really just, some people can go straight off the list, some people just kind of go fly off the seat. I mean, like, and so it's trying to, encourage everyone to, make sure everyone is fulfilling their ends of the bargains in terms of not slacking off and making sure, we all have the same desire, and that's to grow. And we know that all 3 of us are tied together, so I think there's that added desire. But being friends also makes that a little difficult as well because, it's hard to go, when your friend has their mind set on something, it's hard to go tell them not to, let alone when you have a financial stake in that decision, and that they need to change their mind. That's something that we really, we were, I guess a little ignorant, thought that's not going to happen to us. We're too good of friends. That won't happen. There'll be no conflicts in that way. But there's a lot of things where we've had to really sit down and say, this is, we've actually had to go sit down with the way one of our employees, dealt with something on Facebook where we had to say, everybody say, no, like this is something we have to go out and it was literally a 2-to-1 vote. So one of the owners was unhappy with the way we ended up dealing with the situation, and so it's one where we have to remember that we're all working towards the same goal, but it's also we also try to do it where we're not going to we all recognize we need each other, so we don't want to make disappoint anyone to whether they're getting kicked out or they feel like they're getting kicked out. But yeah, that's been a big balancing. That's just something we're still working on as well. We don't have a great answer, but I think it's something we're still working on, is being able to doing the right thing and making sure everyone is pulling their weight, but doing it in a way that we're still going to be able to just spend that time together. And I think one thing that actually we both proposed was spending some off nights just away from business where there's no business talk. Just together, just to recultivate that friendship, but not put the pressures and strains of owning a business on that. And so that's one thing we're going to start doing, because what we found is having weekly meetings at the restaurant leads to a lot of distractions and leads to a lot of pressures, and it just it makes it seem like the only reason you guys are all together is because of the business, and we know that's not the case. So that's the way we've kind of approached working with friends, and really making sure everyone knows their duties and is doing that. So Yes.
Just kind of a follow-up to that. How long do the two of you plan on keeping your day jobs, or do you plan on transitioning all into the business, or keep the day job forever, or kind of talk about that?
Sure. So right now, with the length of the loan was what we're probably gonna have to be able to, until we at least expand to another location. We just, with the physical constraints of the size of the location and the amount, we think it's more likely probably be 5 or 10 years before we're actually able to enter into it fully, just in terms, and that would be with a second location. But yeah, it's mainly due to like physical constraints of that and just the profit, and then just loans eat a ton of profit out. So, but the goal is to enter into that, is to actually be more involved in day-to-day operations. So, yeah. Yes.
What's been the biggest unforeseen obstacle for running a restaurant in particular?
For running a restaurant.
That you guys didn't think of initially, but once you were actually in the middle of it, you're like, oh man, like I didn't know that it costs this much to repair an oven, or
right. I mean, yeah. So honestly, the amount of repairs. So that was one thing. Again, was we had a company come out and inspect all of our equipment before the purchase, and they said everything was in good working condition. We also had our co-owner Matt, who's worked in kitchen for 8 years. We're like, all right, so you guys need to go through this together to make sure everything is quality enough. And then a week later, we had an ice machine go out, and we had like one of our cooling tables went out, like the so we've learned that there's been a lot of surprises. You never expect everything to just go full. Every time you think you're riding high, then something comes back and breaks out. And so one thing we've been really balancing is trying to decide when to replace items versus repair them as well. Just because, our oven is 15 years old, but those ovens will last probably 25 years. So we're like, okay, those are the most expensive thing, praying that it doesn't go out, But so you replace small parts of it, but there's certain parts where we're gonna have a fridge that needs to be replaced here in the spring, and it's really just trying to balance when those actually occur too, when the new equipment comes in. So that was one thing we weren't really expecting, was to have to a lot of stuff is very old, so we'll replace a lot of it, so quickly. And then one thing, just personally dealing with the marketing aspect, is people are picky. Facebook reviews, and holy cow, they just feel like people can be entitled sometimes. Holy cow. That was one thing I wasn't expecting, was just like, there's just some people on Facebook, and you read these things, and you wish you could just be honest with them. You're like, no, I gotta be professional, but like just some of the nitty things. Oh, wow.
Don't incriminate yourself.
Yeah. I was gonna say, this is on YouTube here. I don't know if I can actually do that. We appreciate your business, and come to Piezanos again. There we go. But yeah, that's been one of the biggest surprises for me. And I actually have a sister who runs the social media. She works in the social media department for Amigos, and she was trying to warn me. It's like, oh no, it won't be that bad. It's people are fun. So yeah. Yes.
Is there another Piezanos in Omaha?
There's not a Piezanos in Omaha. There's, I believe there's one in Minnesota that actually uses our logo, our old logo, because the old owner let the copyright expire. I found there's one in Colorado and one in New York, but none of them are connected, or at least not connected with us.
What's your best-selling item, and then do you guys deliver? And if you do deliver, do you deliver all over Lincoln from your one location, or how do you handle that?
So our best-selling item is going to be our pepperoni cream cheese pizza. So good, yeah. Literally, people love it. Yeah. Oh yeah, I'm just over there, doing it.
Man, that was the weirdest thing coming out to Nebraska, is cream cheese on pizza, man. So we got used to that,
Welcome home. There it is. Yeah, so that's been our best selling for sure. Meat combo is probably a second one. Also, it's like a 3 vegetables, 3 meats, wonderful. My personal favorite is the barbecue chicken, little sweet bay rate. It's wonderful. It's heaven there. So we do deliver all over Lincoln. City limits is what we say. Sometimes we got a little bit outside of it, but even for that one location. So as long as you're patient, you live on, we actually have people from Waverly, so we don't deliver to Waverly, but they'll meet us at the gas station at Cornhusker 84, and we'll deliver out there, and they'll do it. So yeah, exactly. It shows people love us, so we're willing to go out there. So yeah, we do deliver that flat 250 feet wherever in Lincoln. So if you're further away, you just have to. It'll take you a little longer to get it, but we'll come out to you. So
Do you have one size or different sizes of pizzas? And then what's your average cost of your largest pizza?
Sure. So we have an 8, 10, 12, and 16. So 4 different sizes of pizza. Basically, 8-inch being the small, like the kid size, and then 16 be a 16-piece large pizza. And those 16 inches, they're going to be, I believe, with like the pepperoni cream cheese. I think is like $19.89 or something before tax for that one. One of the combo meat combos would be like $20.89, I think. So I'm like, yeah, so it's about
20 what?
$20.89.
Okay.
Like works.
I'm giving myself away, but where are you located?
Oh, okay. So we're located at 2740 South Street, so just east of 27th and South. So there's a gas station, and then there's on the north side of the street, there's there's a health clinic, there's a foot doctor, there's we're just located in the strip mall there. Again, yeah, we're one of those places where if you don't really know to look for us, you could easily drive past us. Again, which leads to the marketing potential of just being more visible to people. So
Have you thought about moving your location?
that is a thought. Right now, it's a 2-to-1 vote in favor of doing that eventually. Just right now, with financial constraints, that's not a possibility. But eventually, I mean, something bigger, something with a better parking lot. I think those are definitely things we're considering for sure. One person likes the nostalgia of the place, having been located in that location for 30 years. So there's some give and take with that as well. But yeah.
With the growth of Lincoln, is there a certain direction you want to go to relocate to if you do?
To be honest, just knowing how far it is, we've only looked at it initially. I mean, Southeast Lincoln looks very promising, as well as Northeast along the 84th Street corridor there. That's a fast-growing area as well. We're looking for. Really, I think if we do a second location, it'd be somewhere north, down just balance out Lincoln. Downtown is something we're exploring as well. So really, we see there's many opportunities for Lincoln, but I think just gonna kind of be more north, or even potentially going further south as well.
So you talked about relocating, and now you mentioned the second location. Is it might be both situations?
It might be both. Whereas, I mean, they're not necessarily mutually exclusive. We want to be able to reach all of Lincoln, especially since we are serving all of Lincoln with our delivery. If we can second location in north and decrease delivery times, it's a benefit to both the customer and to us. And also just moving. We like our location where we are on the map, Lincoln. But just the building, the parking lot, just kind of, it's an older building, parking lot's very tiny. I think there's a lot of benefit to just moving somewhere near that area, even if possible, but just kind of seeing what's available in the next couple of years.
What's your hours?
We're currently open from 11 a.m. until 11 p.m. Sunday through Thursday, and then 11 a.m. till midnight on Friday and Saturday.
So it would then align with whether you're relocating or if you're expanding, but I guess the bigger question is, you carry on the same mission and vision and values for your brand, because that will dictate what you want to do. Because if it's to stay nostalgic and it's more exclusive, you don't want to go somewhere that's like in the commercial area, right? So I would say you need to first stay established what that vision and values are, and I guess that's the question that I'm having is, are you bringing that in of, okay, this is old recipes, we're providing this, that's your mission, and that goes to marketing and everything else with brand alignment.
And we see that, honestly, what we more align ourselves with right now is the pride we have in our recipes and our people and our quality of ingredients. And that's something we feel like we can share from both our current location as well as a new location, a more modern location, just different parts of town, where it's not necessarily tied to a specific location, building size, exclusivity, and sort of while we definitely love the ambiance that it currently provides in there, it's not something that we see as necessarily, we see the pizza, the recipes, and the pride in that, that quality that we really see as the product that we're pushing more, so that that's what we really want to grow within Lincoln, is that build the access to that pizza there.
So are you committed to purchasing locally, and do you have the Italian salad dressing? I'm always working.
So we do use, honestly, that actually is a better question for my general manager. He's the one who does the purchase. I know we use a local, we use U.S. Foods for all of our food deliveries as to the location of where everything else is coming through. I know we do spice. I mean, we import some of our spices internationally, but so I'm not exactly certain of the breakdown of where our ingredients are coming from, or if we have the Italian seasoning. So I'll get your card
I'll
afterwards.
drop this.
There it is.
Something you might be interested in is we're opening a restaurant depot next year about this time in Omaha, and it is a huge wholesale warehouse. You'd love it. Yeah, it's fantastic. And there's one in Kansas City. I was just there. It's awesome.
Get me excited.
Yeah, it's amazing. The cheeses and everything are so cheap. I was like, I wanted to buy some for me, but since I don't use them in my business, you have to sign like a thing that says you'll only use it for your, so I'm super, super honest.
So we go through like
I
45
couldn't purchase
boxes.
anything for myself, only for my business.
You talked about maintaining the integrity of the product, you know, the tradition and stuff. Quite honestly, I haven't been there since you've taken over ownership. The last 2 times we were there with the previous owner, there were some issues with quality. So how are you addressing both the quality of your food and the quality of your staff?
Sure. No, and honestly, that was one thing we've heard a lot with, which we kind of aligned on with a little bit the service as well aspect where we know, especially on older, the service and then even the service in the kitchen in terms of making the product, we're not always up to the highest quality. Our current general manager works about 80 hours a week in the restaurant, so he's almost always there to make sure everyone is filling. Because, like I said, so he's been a pizza connoisseur of Lincoln. He knows the quality that it has and potential to be. He takes great pride in it. He inspects basically every pizza that's going out of there to make sure it looks like it's supposed to. It's not burnt. I mean, there have definitely been issues we were made aware of with the previous staff, and so honestly, it comes from a combination of better training the staff and what we expect of them. The old owner actually near the end of his tenure there, he was working maybe 25 hours a week actually in the restaurant, and so it was very much devoid of him, which allowed a lot of things to slip. So that's one thing. Now being there 3 times as much as he was, we're able to have better control over that quality, make sure the employees know what's expected of them, both for the service in the kitchen and service in the floor, and make sure that the employees that we're using that quality, because we know that's what people are paying for. You can go to Papa John's and get a $7.99 large pizza, or you can go to Piezanos and really know what you're going to get, and have that quality, which we feel is what makes us worth the value. So
I can say I was just there within the last 2 months, and both the quality of the food was fantastic and the service was exceptional.
good.
Have you ever thought of like a carry-out only location, like close to downtown, close to the university?
Yeah, we are looking at downtown as another location in terms of, and downtown presents its own unique advantages and challenges. Especially it's going to be a much larger lunch crowd versus almost versus dinner. But yeah, that is one thing we're looking at is just if we go downtown, what will it look like as well? Because right now we don't currently have like anything like a pizza by the slice or anything like a lunch combo that we probably need to make to have it be feasible downtown. We don't think maybe people are coming to the university to get a whole pizza for themselves sort of thing. So
I'm curious, division of labor. I'm sure structurally you had to make changes over what was before and what you've implemented. Could you talk a little bit about the process of determining how you divided the daily tasks, the monthly tasks of the actual operation?
absolutely. So the way we kind of divided the tasks, we're going to be with our own strength. So the general manager, being that he's at the restaurant, he's in charge of the management of employees. He's in charge of making sure food's ordered. Anything that really deals with the day-to-day operations is going to be more of his domain. Being marketing side, so I'm working a lot more with emails, with the donation requests, dealing with reviews and Facebook messages and Facebook promotions, coming with other marketing promotions. Working with that, and our accounting is actually working with making sure bills are paid on time, making sure the accounts look good. Really, make sure everyone's getting paid, make sure we still have money in our bank account, make sure everything's working in that regard. And so really it's luckily there is a lot of fine lines in terms of what constitutes each area, which just makes it there's very little gray overlap in terms of like, is this day-to-day operations at the restaurant, or is this accounting thing? I mean, like luckily there are very fine lines which have allowed it to not really run over. Honestly, the most gray overlap we have with labor is going to be some reviews that our general manager wants to get more involved in that, because he also knows the situation that's occurring, and gives us a better idea. But there's also we also kind of want to stay a little bit emotionally separated from that, so we're not letting that enter into our response as well, which has been a big thing, as well as not letting emotion play into how you portray yourself professionally on Facebook or in social media in general.
You said the previous owner wasn't doing a whole lot on the marketing side, and that was one of the things that you were real excited about, is jumping in and kind of throwing out some new ideas. I heard a little bit about some promotions and doing some things more on Facebook, but what are some of the different ideas or strategies that you have for tackling more of the promotion side or advertising in general?
Absolutely. So right now, especially with initially, we're trying to limit our costs. Ways we're trying to get out. We did make a push for students. They have a little campus cash booklet. We tried to get. We're doing promotion there. Actually, it's probably one of our first big failures is students don't want to pay extra for quality. Yeah, who would have thought? So we thought it'd be good, because we actually honestly thought we'd get more of the staff, more of the professors, more of the teachers that really haven't seen that kind of return that we were hoping for. Actually working with our food provider, they do have a marketing department which is helping us revamp our menus. They also help us with, they do quarterly postcards for us, which allows us to do some pull marketing in terms of bringing people in for the lunch buffets, bringing people in for trying pizzas, with free breadsticks, just doing it that way. Now and we also literally, the Facebook presence was nil, so now we've really gone into that as well. But more so, we've just been trying to get more creative in terms of ways of advertising without having to, right now we know we can't afford a comprehensive, radio campaign or print campaign. So we're coming up with other ways. So we're trying to actually revamp our T-shirts and hats. Actually, because one thing we're really excited about is being able to offer them at $10 a T-shirt, basically cover our cost, but then you have free marketing walking around Lincoln. And we're trying to do other things like the Nebraska Passport program, being that we're the 6th oldest restaurant in Lincoln. We feel like we have a lot of people still haven't heard of us. I think we have a good novelty there, a good tradition there that we'd like to really help both of those in the state of Nebraska and those out-of-state visitors. So really we're just looking for opportunities to help. We recently partnered with Pies High School in terms of their fundraiser and help with their staff, encouraging them to come here and be able to work with their students. So really just working, trying to find unique opportunities that are a little different than the normal, print, radio, television sort of as right now initially. And then, maybe once we can get a little bit more solid footing, like we have increased sales by about 20% over the previous owner already. So we're very excited about that, and just kind of keeping that going. And then once we get to another level, just keep building with those promotions as well.
Any other questions?
What's your favorite type of ramen now that you're on a ramen eating diet?
A little bit of chicken, Can't wait to get off that kick. So very good.
Colby, thank you so much for being here.
Thanks, bro.
We'd like to thank you for being our speaker today by giving you a Focus Suite coffee mug.
Wow, that's awesome.
And you can use that at the restaurant. Next week, we have Escape Lincoln coming in to talk about their escape room in downtown, so please come back next week. No need to run off. You're welcome to mingle, talk to one another, exchange those business cards as long as you like. So feel free